What's going on, family? You are now listening to the Fitness Headspace podcast, episode 10, the Fitness Essentials 101. Brought to you by none other, myself, Deion, Avril from Evolve Fitness, where we get fit and we don't quit, y'all. I hope y'all are doing great, staying positive, staying dedicated, and staying disciplined. And if you guys could just take a quick second and drop a like, comment, share, subscribe, and share with someone, please. I'd greatly appreciate that. Remember, every little bit counts. Now, let me go ahead and just tap in with you guys. As far as what's new, we got the website. Like I said, it's still working right now. We got about roughly 2.5 to 3 weeks left. We also got some new programs coming out, new t-shirts as well too. But again, we're just going to wait a little bit on those concepts and designs. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to tap right into the first topic of discussion, which is going to be, of course, fitness for all. Now, the first topic that I wanted to talk to you guys about was tracking your weights digitally versus on paper. And what I mean by weights, as far as how you're tracking your workouts in general, because this is the thing you want to think about, right? When you're going to the gym, there's a lot of people that will utilize, let's say, pen and paper. And I see it all the time. Doesn't matter what gym. And I commend people who do that because that's real discipline right there and real dedication. Now, for me, I like to work smart, and I'm a little bit lazy with certain things. So the way that I do mine is all digital, and I do the same thing for all of my clients for various amounts of reasons. So what I want to do is kind of dissect the two options and why I think one might be a little bit more beneficial for most people, but I'm not saying one is technically better than the other, or one is wrong and one is right. So again, for the people that I see in the gym that come with pen and paper, that's absolutely fine. But here's my thing, right? I'm a type of person, I don't like my handwriting. My handwriting is shitty. So of course I'm not going to write anything personally, right? Now, the average person, that's what they're used to. A lot of people are also not electronically inclined as far as knowing how to use certain apps and certain programs or whatever the case is, which is fine. And this is where I'm going to fill that gap in for sure in the next few months. For sure. I promise you. Going to be game changing. So y'all be ready. But besides me plugging anything, you got to also keep in mind, like, for example, let's say that you're leaving and let's say for whatever odd reason, it's raining and you forget something, or you leave it in the car and you forgot to take it because it's raining again. And you walk into the gym, you're about to work out. You're like, oh, dang. You know what I mean? Everything is in the car and I don't feel like running to the car. Now what do you do? Right? Now, here's the thing. Me personally, I use spreadsheets. I use Google Sheets for all of my tracking for not only myself, but also all of my clients. And I do all of their programming in there as well, too. So here's the thing that I love about being digital. One, you can download it on any type of device. So whether it's an iPhone, iPad, like an Android phone, it doesn't matter. It's all cross-platform. So you don't necessarily have to worry about it not working with one thing or not being compatible with another. So not only that, everything is digital in a sense of I could continuously make copies. I can make edits really quick. I don't have to worry about having everything in pen and paper. And me personally, again, can't read my own handwriting. Like, dead serious. I have doctor's handwriting, like chicken scratch. And I'm a lefty, so it's kind of hard for me to even read some of my stuff at times, but also I like things as far as being able to see progression all the way across. So I look at my spreadsheets as like a progress report. And the cool part is, again, let's say that I'm doing an exercise and our program like, this doesn't feel right. This feels uncomfortable. Let me try something else. So instead of scratching it out or doing this and doing that, having to start a new page and rewrite everything, which is taking time, I can literally just double click in the cells. I could pull it out and then I could, rewrite it and type something different. Track all my progress, make as many weeks out as I need to, make as many sheets out as I need to, and then I could always compare and contrast later on. You know what I mean? So I could pull up different windows side by side when I'm doing it. Sorry, y'all. It's a little breezy up in here. But yeah, so these are some of the reasons why I think it's really important to be able to track all your information digitally. The main difference is just the fact of when you're tracking everything in regards to your workouts and your sessions digitally, you can make changes on the fly. Whereas if you have a pen and paper, not saying that it's bad, it's just going to be a little bit more time consuming And in the event of you leaving it at home, now you have to kind of switch things out, which you're probably going to end up taking your phone out and making notes anyway. You get what I'm saying? So I think nowadays when it comes to tracking, I like to track smart and efficient and have everything whenever I need it. Now, the other cool thing is that if I'm training a client or if I'm training with a coach, I could just send them and share the spreadsheet itself. Now, when I'm sending the spreadsheet, they have access to everything. We can see everything in real time. They could ask me how I did this, how I did that, if I should tweak this and tweak this, instead of sending them pictures of the physical paper. You get what I'm saying? So think about that when you're doing it moving forward as far as some different options. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about, it's just the second topic before we move on, is the fact of you should not underestimate your sleep. Stress levels, I can't stress enough, ironically, how important it is in regards to your sleep for recovery. So a lot of people will go to the gym, they'll pump iron, boom, 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 whatever the case is, but don't sleep properly. They don't recover properly. And the main reason why for most people is sleep and stress. So I want to give you guys a couple of different options as far as what you can utilize, as far as how to improve your sleep pattern. So the first thing is there's a such thing called circadian rhythm and your body, just the way that it moves and how, like, for example, it changes during daylight saving time and things of that sort. So you got to get back on track. That's why some people feel a little off or whatever the case is. Some people don't believe in that. It's all personal preference. But nevertheless, what I will say is that the first thing that I would incorporate is utilizing some form of magnesium and a zinc supplement. So magnesium works with the nervous system. And what this is going to do is activate a mechanism that will calm you down and allow you to fall asleep, while zinc is working from basically waking you up in the middle of the night. So there's different things that people will take, like melatonin, theanine or theanine, depending on how you call it, which is more of a stress reducer, relaxation. I like to take KSM 66, which is the scientific name for ashwagandha. So you have that option as well too, which will reduce your stress levels, reduce your cortisol. But the thing is, you still need cortisol, right? So that's a hormone in the body. You still need that, but it will reduce it to the sense of not being harmful and impeding within your sleep patterns or your sleep in general and recovery process. So you want to keep that in mind. Now, another thing that people don't think about is that, I don't know about y'all, man, I can't go to sleep with a hot room, bro. That ain't happening at all. So setting your room to a colder temperature has shown, and there's a lot of studies that are showing that will be more beneficial in regards to increasing your sleep. So research is showing anywhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. I think that's very cold, but again, it depends on the person and where you live. So being in Florida, I guess they would consider us thin-blooded. But I'm a winter baby, so I'm cool with being cold. But everybody's, like, for example, everybody's AC system is different. So the AC system in the house right now is at like 70, 75, 76, somewhere around there. And that's perfect. Like, I'll walk around with clothes on for the most part, and I'll be straight. Don't have to worry about nothing. Put a cover over me, we straight. But again, that's what some studies are showing. It's not 100% accurate as far as, like, everybody's case is a little bit different. But those are some of the ways that you guys can help improve your sleep. Also, try to turn off phones roughly 30 minutes to an hour beforehand. That whole blue light thing. And also, you don't want your mind racing. I know for sure, like, for me, I like to sleep with the TV on. But sometimes subconsciously, you're still awake. So you got to keep that in mind as well, too. So we're going into the next segment, which is going to be fitness myths. I have a couple of these because I think these are really important to kind of establish with people and understand what's not necessarily true, or if there's some truth to what the myth is, if that makes sense. So number one, the number of calories your cardio machine says that you're burning is accurate. So every machine, every company will tell you that it is, but in reality, it isn't. Nothing's going to be 100% accurate because they have to put in consideration of the person itself, the individual, right? That's just like me saying I have two clients. I can't give them the exact same program because they might not have the same goals in mind. They might not have the same lifestyle. They might not want to work on that certain body part as much as the other person would. So there's a lot of different factors that you got to put into play. Now, back to the cardio machine. The reason why I think this is a myth, and it ties into a couple of other things, and the reason why I think it's really important is because, for example, you will burn more calories in different machines because you're exerting a little bit more energy. So in my opinion, what I've noticed, or I should say in my experience, not even opinion, in my experience, I've noticed that I'm able to burn more calories on, for example, an elliptical as opposed to a treadmill. You're exerting more energy constantly throughout the time of utilizing that machine, which is the elliptical. So the treadmill, of course, you can kind of set a little bit more parameters and different settings to make it easier. And that's what most people do. They'll get on there. Let's say it's a traditional one like Life Fitness. You get on there, you start it. People will start at like maybe 2 for the speed. They'll do like 1 or 1.5 for the incline. It's like, nah, homie. Now, when I'm over here on this treadmill, on the elliptical, I'm moving. Like I have to keep moving. I can't like half-ass it because the machine will turn off since it's battery operated. So that's another thing too. Utilizing your own body to move these machines will help you exert more energy. So I do something that's called like the Amish treadmill on a lot of the treadmills, and I'll show that one day for you guys so you can see what I'm talking about. But that's another alternative that I'll use to make sure that I'm exerting as much energy or doing more hit-based intervals on any type of cardiovascular machine. So the thing is the reason why I think it's really important to understand that you should not follow that machine completely to the T is because, for example, people will get on the machine and say, all right, cool, I'm going to burn 200 calories. Now, here's the flip side. People go to the house and say that it's okay to eat 200 calories. And it's not okay, because now you're in this rat race of like yo-yo. I call it the yo-yo effect. So you burn 200 calories to think that you have 200 calories to spare or 200 calories to consume. But then in return, what happens is you have this mentality that it's okay to eat 400 calories as long as you're on the treadmill burning 400 calories. Who's to say that machine in particular that you're on is 100% accurate? Because nothing really is. Everything is kind of like trial and error and understanding your body as well. So to say that 200 calories, cool, and not necessarily try to do extra with it, that's different. But to think that, oh, just because I dropped 200 calories today, it's okay to eat. Like, yo, I've seen people on the actual treadmill eating Cheetos while they're walking. So what are you telling me? You're telling me that 160 calories you're going to burn and even it out so it was okay to eat that bag of chips? Come on, bro. Like, let's be real. And I'm not shaming anybody, but what I'm saying is that this is the mentality that ends up happening. You think that it's okay to do this, and it's not. You know what I mean? So just keep that in mind. So number 2, doing crunches and sit-ups will help you get a 6-pack. All right. Now, here's the thing. In reality, we all know that saying abs are made in the kitchen. I'm gonna live by that just because of the fact of your nutrition will always be the most important part. You cannot out-cheat a bad diet off rip, and you've probably heard that as well too. So when it comes to 6-packs and doing crunches and all this other fun stuff, this is the thing you got to understand. In general, most people will need to have a certain body fat percentage before you start seeing your abdominal muscles, and it's also genetically dispositioned as well. So it's genetically determined as far as what you could see based on your body fat percentage. So, for example, some people, as they start dropping body fat, their back gets crazy shredded, but their stomach might still hold a lot of the weight, the water weight, and the body fat itself. Some people will get super striated legs, and then it'll be vice versa where the upper body holds on to it. So everybody's body is different. And to say that, okay, if I were to do 100 sit-ups every day, I'm going to get abs. You're going to get stronger abs. You're going to have a stronger core. Your back will be a lot stronger as well, too. Because the thing is, you got to understand, your back and your core go hand in hand. You can't have a strong back without a strong core. You can't have a strong core without a strong lower back. So you have to work on both of them simultaneously. But the main way to be able to, if you want to see your abdominal muscles, you're going to have to get down to a body fat percentage to where it is visible. Think about it this way. Everybody has abs, but the only thing that's holding your abs from being, well, the only thing that's holding you back from being able to see your abs is the fact that you have that layer of adipose tissue. Okay. Which just means that we have layers over our actual abdominals. So if you were to shred that down, it'll be a lot easier to see your abdominals. That's what you really want to focus on. So the focus is your nutrition before doing 100 sit-ups and crunches every day. Now, number 3, I've touched base on this before, but I still think it's really important just to kind of reiterate. So you should hit the gym every day is the myth that it is. So to tell somebody that they should hit the gym every day is, there's pros and cons. So the first thing that I do whenever I'm talking to clients or potential clients, or whatever the case is, and we're setting things up, I have to understand their lifestyle, right? So give me 1 second, y'all. So I have to understand their lifestyle. If I don't understand what they're capable of committing to as of right now, it's kind of hard to just suggest somebody to do X, Y, and Z. So that's like you coming to me as a potential client, and you're telling me like, hey, yeah, I want to work out, but I got kids, I got, this, I got that, I got to take the kids to practice. All right, cool. So how many days are you able to commit, right? You tell me 4 days. Why am I going to tell you 7? You know what I'm saying? So, and also you got to keep in mind that your body needs time to recover. So for example, for most people, if you were to do lower body on Monday, it might take about 24 to 48 hours to recover. So by Wednesday, you should be okay to get back in the gym and work on lower body again, just depending on what you worked on and how intense it was. Because if you're not able to on Wednesday, then that means you probably pushed a little bit hard on Monday. But again, everybody's level is different as far as delayed onset muscle soreness, and their recovery is a little bit different. So some people, by the next day, they're good. You get what I'm saying? So I know some people who will do biceps on Monday and Tuesday, they still fine, like no problem. Like they can hit biceps all day, every day, but with a moderate amount. So you really have to know your body and understand what works best for you. And also think about how much time you're able to commit at the end of the day. Now, myth number 4, lifting weights will bulk you up. So this is for the women out there primarily, because I know there's this stigma of thinking that if you're in a routine, yes, once you start, you will add some muscle to your frame, but it takes a lot of work. You got to also keep in mind that you have to be in a caloric surplus. You have to methodically increase your weight as well, as far as the weights in the gym. And you do have to have a training intensity that's like up there. And again, it's not the fact that it can't be done. It's the fact of the misunderstanding of thinking that, hey, if I were to lift weights like X, Y, and Z, I'm going to look all crazy like a man. I'm like, not really. Like genetically, you're built different as well too. Male and versus female, as far as how we're built, completely different. You get what I'm saying? So to have that concept of like, hey, if I were to lift too much, I would look crazy. And it's not that way. So the thing is that what happens is everybody is different in a sense of how they put on muscle. So I know some of the women that I know, well, they're more broad up top, or they have, like wide shoulders and a thick back. So it's like, and what I mean thick, like they have a nice back in the sense of like, hey, if they were going to compete, like, bro, you'd be lit. But a lot of women don't know that, as far as like, they'll know as far as what's their like their suits, as far as, all right, cool. Like my shoulders is very dominant as far as, and it's a thing in my family, or my calves is a big thing in my family. So most women will know that. And what I tell them is that when you start lifting, like my whole rule of thumb really quickly is like, when you start lifting, if there's anything that you start to lift and you start to notice that's growing too much, stop. It's not like it's going to, continue growing if you're not working on it, ironically, right? So if it's something that you notice, like, whoa, my shoulder's getting low. Woo, okay, cool. Cut that in half, or we'll take down the amount of sets that we have throughout the week, or per session as well too. So again, there's a lot of tweaking that we have to do, and we have to understand what exactly causes that growth, So there's going to be things like minimum effective volume, maximum recovery volume. So these are things where we come into play as a coach to understand your body and what it takes for your body to actually grow in certain places. So everything has a certain number of certain number of sets, every week that we have to be mindful of, or per session. And this is stuff that I do on the back end that most of my clients don't know about. And this is how we get our results as well too. Like there's a little bit of science behind it all. Not a little bit. There's a lot of science behind it. And I'm only touching the information that I'm confident about telling you guys. And a lot of it I'm still trying to understand, and I have to experiment with myself along with others to see what works best for them as well too. So just keep that in mind. Now, the last part is going to be diet and nutrition as usual. I'm going to try to breeze through this and not keep you guys too long. So first and foremost, I want you all to bring out your inner chef. So you have to cook more meals at home because that's what's going to be shown to promote more weight loss and healthy eating. So what people will tell me is like, yeah, I like to eat out, et cetera, which is fine. Like you have to do everything in moderation. But here's the thing. Although some places don't even give you a calorie count on a lot of stuff. Like I went to a few vegan places and I'm like, bro, like what's the calorie count? So like now I have to understand all the stuff. And this is from a bodybuilder's standpoint. And it's stressful because most places I go, I'll look at the menu and know approximately how many calories. And what I'll do, I'll set myself up to eat less throughout the day just to compensate, just in case if their calorie count is which is averaging. So if I'm going to go somewhere and it's like 2,000 calories or 800, 900 calories, and I have 1,200 calories left in the day to eat, then yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to eat any more and leave that buffer space just in case I end up eating a little bit more, or again, the calorie count is 100% accurate. So the main thing to understand is that when you do things at home, you have a lot more control over what you eat and what you put in your mouth. And also it'll reduce the amount of money that you're spending out and about, which you can then in return reinvest it back into the household and do meal prep. You could get you some glass containers, meal prep things, and have everything there. So you hold yourself accountable when it comes to eating moving forward. Now, the next thing, which is my favorite, is learn how to shop smart. So you need to learn how to create a shopping list. And the thing is that you want to avoid purchasing unhealthy food or making impulsive decisions when you're buying food. So here's my thing, right? It's going to lead to weight loss just because of the fact that you start to notice there's not going to be as many things in your cart. And the way that I like to approach things with some people is that you've probably heard this before, but when you go into a traditional grocery store, you usually want to hit the outside of the store first, the outside perimeter, which is where you're going to find your fruit, produce. You're going to find your your meats and things of that nature on the outsides, and then you make yourself and in dairy products, and then you make yourself in the inside of the aisles, right? So for your sauces, your pasta, whatever the case is, your rice, and that's how you will avoid the factor of being caught up, or as I say, get lost with the sauce at the end of the day. So you really have to be mindful of how you're approaching your shopping and have everything in a cart already. And I promise you that's going to be the easiest way to make sure that you're successful in regards to shopping smart. So the next thing is to staying hydrated, right? Like I tell everybody, the main important part about being hydrated is the fact that your body is legitimately, it's made of water. Your brain is made of water. So the thing is, you want to make sure that you're always hydrated. That's going to help with your digestive system, your nervous system, and it does help with a couple of other things as well too. But the main thing is that a lot of people don't drink enough water in general, and you got to keep in mind that your body has to process toxins as well too. So if your body's not consuming water to help flush it out, then you're holding on to these toxins that are very harmful to you. So just be very mindful of that. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, actually, I got two more. So practice mindful eating. And this is really quick. I've said this before. Chew your food slowly. Make sure that you're able to digest your food. Because the thing is, a lot of people will consume their food very quickly and not be mindful of how it's going in. So one, you're backing up your digestive system because your digestive system is trying to break down this big chunk of food that's going to take a while. You also consume a lot more air when you're eating as you're doing this. So of course, you're going to have those air bubbles, you get those pockets in the stomach where it feels uncomfortable as well too. So with that being said, just make sure that you're chewing your food a lot slower. It gives you time to enjoy your food. And it's a really good way to gauge if you're eating too much. Okay, because the slower you eat, it'll give you the opportunity to say that, all right, if you're at about roughly 70 to 80% full, that's where you want to stop. You don't want to overeat and feel sluggish and feel, like bloated more so, and just feel like, damn, all right, I'm about to go sit on this couch and not do anything for the rest of the day. Now, the last thing is that you want to cut back on refined carbs. So this is going to include things that are usually bleached. Okay, so this includes sugars, grains, and these are the things that have had all of their fiber and nutrients removed. So this would be things like white flour, regular pasta, white bread. You could always switch things up to the opposite, where it's whole wheat pasta, whole wheat bread, multi-grain, multi-oat. These are going to be different options that you can utilize, and these are going to be the things that have higher fiber content, and they also give you the option to digest things a little bit slower, where refined carbs are going to have you feel like you just want to keep eating because you feel like it's not really hitting the spot, of course, right? So you want to include things like, these are going to be complex carbohydrates. So things like oats, ancient grains like quinoa, barley, spelt, and you have, oh my God, there's so many. Like you have like wild rice instead of regular white rice. And again, there's nothing wrong with white rice. You just got to be mindful of it. And you can include things like vegetables, like carrots, like potatoes, sweet potatoes, and whatnot. These are going to keep you fuller or more full for a longer period of time. And they also have more nutrients as opposed to the refined sources of carbohydrates. And with that being said, family, we have reached the end. And I want to just go ahead and thank you all for joining in with us today. Once again, this was episode 10. And again, next week, we're going to be throwing some more sauce in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to see if we can get some more guests at some point. Just everybody, we've all just been busy. We all been working, trying to catch on to life and make it for what it is. But again, I hope you all found something very useful and found some gems within this episode today. And like I always tell you guys, remember, we get fit because we don't quit. Stay grinding, stay hungry, stay healthy, and I'll catch y'all soon.